In Israel, a rabbi's wife and his two beautiful daughters are executed at point blank range, and CNN doesn't call it an execution. They call it something else. Check this out. So let's talk about the bias in the press. At what point do we just say, hey, we give up? You know, so many people have gotten to the point where it's just insane what's being reported, and it doesn't have anything to do with what is right and wrong. It has nothing to do with what's true and not true. It has to do with, I'm going to make my narrative, and my narrative is now going to be your truth. And the latest proof of that came from this woman. This is Christiane Amanpour. She is the host of two shows on CNN, both domestically and internationally. She's a British Iranian lady that for some reason, she is the chief anchor of CNN International, as well as the host of Amanpour and Company. So she has a tremendously large platform. You're not going to believe what this idiot said and made as news. And I'll tell you the background. A week ago, a British Israeli family, a mom and her two daughters, were driving in Israel in the Jordan Valley, where the Bible came from. Okay? Some Palestinian terrorists drove up next to the car, machine gunned the car. The car drove off the road. They walked up to the car and at close range executed the mother and the two daughters. Christiane Amanpour, on her international CNN show and on her domestic Amanpour and Company show on CNN, said the following: these three women died in a shootout. That's how she reported the story.
Wow.
It wasn't a shootout, Will. It was an execution of a mother who is now passed with her two daughters. She was the wife of a prominent rabbi from England. And this was not a slip of the tongue. This is a distortion of the truth for the purpose of changing the narrative. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a shootout. It was an execution. This journalist, and that's what she calls herself, has been lying about Israel for 20 years on the air. This time, she was forced to declare a minor apology because the outpouring of destructive language pointed at her was enormous from around the world, right? But the apology came and went. Now the story's forgotten. And how many hundreds of thousands of people heard about a shootout where an innocent woman and her two beautiful daughters were executed? Will, why does CNN keep somebody like this on the air who just hates Jews and hates Israel and makes no secret about it?
Did you know? I'm pretty sure you're aware. What did they call the media in the 1940s in Germany? State media.
Right.
There's the answer. State media. That's the reason why they keep her on, because she keeps pushing propaganda. They're all about propaganda. If they can push a narrative and get away with it without the outcry, they'll let it slide. Or if they do get caught, they'll say something like, oh, you know what? I mispronounced, or I, minced my words. I apologize for that. But anyways, Russia. It's state media. That's the reason why they get away with it.
She made so many wrong statements in her career. You could write a book about what she said, what the truth was, and then how she fixed it. And usually the way she fixes it is just ignore it, and then people forget. But, it's like if somebody talks bad behind Will Johnson's back and tells 1,000 people and then apologizes to Will Johnson, the only way the apology really works, Will, they've got to track down 1,000 people.
Yeah.
You can't find everybody she lied to around the world about this, right?
No, you can't. But that's the whole idea. That's what state media, that's what they do with the propaganda. Once they put the story out there, the story will go and run. And then when it comes back to the actual truth, they'll be like, oh, you know what? Sorry. And then, or sometimes they won't even say sorry. It's like you said, most of the time, it's just ignore that we got it wrong. Same thing, the whole thing with
Russia.
same thing there. They lied about that, but they don't retract anything that they said, and all the millions of people as of today that still believe that nonsense. They do it with everything. Lie first. If you don't get caught, don't worry about it. If you do, ignore it.
Or you give an apology that goes through like that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
probably a couple 100,000 people heard it. It's a different 200,000 or 300,000 people, right?
But even the people that hear the apology, they really don't even know what is she talking about at that point. What is she talking about?
What she said was, I misspoke. No, she didn't.
Yeah.
She flat out lied.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
Yeah.
You force a car off the road, you walk up with automatic weapons, and you execute a beautiful mother and her 2 daughters at point blank range. That's murder. That's an execution.
Yeah. 100%.
And by the way, the people that did the killing are celebrated as heroes in the Palestinian Authority. They want to name streets after them.